I said last year that the Brewers were going to win the World Series because of their top 3 starting pitchers. And they were out so fast.
We don't do this often. Do you guys like this? Should we do it more often?
Yeah, it's hard to pick them.
That's the fun of it. I don't want to go first. Can AJ go first?
I'm not first. You're first.
No, I don't want to go first.
I'll go first. I don't care.
Yeah.
I skirt.
AJ first. I just feel like people care more about what you have to say and what Kratz has to say. And if it's like, we run out of time because they're playing the music at the Emmys or whatever, then they're like,
That's what Claude does to us every time we have a guest on, so we're used to it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm like the guy that just doesn't listen. Actually, you are, Scott. I try to listen.
Yeah, you listen better, a little bit better than me.
But I have selective hearing. Trust me, I hear about it every day. You weren't listening to me. Well, I was, but I turned it off. I hit the ignore button.
Yeah, that's fine. That's
all
fair.
right.
Yeah, it's the mute.
So I'll go mine. Mine are the Phillies won. And listen, let me say this before we dig into these. Every one of these teams is flawed in a way. There is no team that you're like, man, they could just run away with it. So I'm going Phillies won just because their experience, their lineup, their starting pitching. And they seem to have kind of figured out the back end of the bullpen a little bit here and there with some of the guys. So Phillies won. Dodgers too, just because of the lineup. I think if Yamamoto comes back, I think if Buehler figures it out a little bit, and I think if Kopech continues, who we'll have on later, to do what he's doing, they found a back-end guy.
You said if a lot.
This is not at the end of the year. We still got 11, 12 games left,
Sure.
okay? 3 of the Yankees, Aaron Judge, Juan Soto, Stanton's in there. Rizzo figures it out a little bit. Cole, if he gets back. Again, there's going to be a lot of ifs because there's no perfect team, right? The back end of their bullpen, whether it's Clay Holmes, whoever it is going to be okay, I think, because they have enough stuff to maneuver it. But I think they're starting pitching with Cole, Rodon, Stroman, whoever else they want to run out there, whether Nestor's in there, whoever it is, Clark Schmidt, whoever it is, I think they have enough. Because the American League is a lot weaker for me than the National League. Then I have the Astros. Why? Experience. Just they've done it. Verlander's going to pitch in the postseason. Just to show Scott that he's wrong once again, you have Fromber, you have Hunter Brown, you have Eric Getty, you have Kikuchi, you have Blanco. They got stacked in the stack back into the bullpen. And then finally, just because Erik Kratz is a homer, I'm going Brewers because I like talking to Murph, and I think they've done things that nobody thought they would do. And they got a chance to get a bye. So I like where the Brewers are at.
All right, so where was he wrong, Kratz?
Well, I think Murph is a loser, and so that's why I put the Brewers off here. And I put the Guardians on.
Whoa! Whoa. Can I clip this? Because I'm going to Milwaukee on Thursday. Can I clip this and say, Kratz said you are a loser?
Loser. And then he's going to say, well, now I'm not coming on the show next week. And I'm going to say, anyway, whatever.
I'm going to rescue that, though. And we have 2 out of 3 for Murph. Brewers on our top 5, so they're on mine, too.
Oh, yeah.
So. Okay, go ahead, Kratz.
I left them off because I don't think they have the same as what Cleveland has. And I couldn't not put Houston on because that's just – I can't bet against Houston. I did it early in the season. I can't bet against them. The way they're playing, I think the West is actually weaker than some people put out there because the Mariners should be good, but they can't hit. So I think there's so much optimism in Houston because of things that you are not normally looking at. Like we have to trust in Framber Valdez. We have to trust in Hunter Brown. Like they have established themselves this year, and I think they're a solid number 5. Obviously, the Phillies are a perfect team. There's nothing wrong, and that's why they have JT Realmuto, the perfect man, on my Eric's power rankings. I think the Yankees have done what they've done recently without Judge being in fuego. And if he becomes in fuego, they could jump the Phillies in my power ranking, to be honest. And because I think their starting pitching depth is better than what people think. Yes, AJ said there's a lot of ifs, but they have a lot of depth to fall back on. They essentially have 5 guys who could start a playoff game. They're not going to have all 5, and that could be their downfall. The Dodgers are so flawed in starting pitching, but their lineup is ridiculous. All the things that AJ said.
Scotty B here from FT. 1 in 5 Americans have learn a new language on their bucket list, and you should make 2024 the year you finally check it off the list with Babbel. Babbel is the science-backed language learning app that actually works. Babbel's designed by real people for real conversations.
Kratz here. Brawny, you know what I'm doing? I'm working on my Spanish. so that I can get my pronunciation and accent game to the next level? Babbel's speech recognition technology makes that happen.
Good job, Kratz. So here's a special limited time deal for FT listeners. Right now, get up to 60% off your Babbel subscription, but only for FT listeners. Again, that's up to 60% off at babbel.com/foul, spelled BABBEL.com/FOUL. Rules and restrictions may apply. With Babbel, you can learn everything you need to have real-world conversations, and all it takes is just 10 minutes a day. Who is the toughest team to leave off for both of you? And then I'll go, because I have one that I'm probably going to get crap for.
The toughest team for me was probably Cleveland, because the Cleveland and Brewers to me are very close to each other, just because they're very similar. When I did a game, they played each other, and you're like, how the heck are both? I told both managers, I told Voter, I'm like, and Murph, I'm like, how are you guys doing this? Because if you go man for man in their lineup to some of these other teams, it doesn't fit. But for some reason, the pieces fit together. So how are they doing this? So to me, I have Brewers at 5, and I could have easily swapped them for the Guardians.
Okay. Murph's answer.
I would say
the Brewers. He would say, "Oh, well, it's all me. It's because I'm managing."
No, he would actually never say that.
I know, but he would
never say that.
Yes. He would joke and say that.
Yes, he would. But
Yeah.
I know who. I mean, it's the same. It's the same for me. I didn't put the Brewers in. I put Cleveland in, but I know who Scotty's power ranking team is. He chose them last year. He loved the Padres.
The Mariners.
He's like,
The Mariners.
No, not the Mariners.
No, he loves the Padres.
Last year, but I picked them a little early. So, all right, let's do this. Let's bring it
The
up.
Pirates.
Because I did leave a team off that people are going to probably give me crap for. Phillies won. I just think Wheeler's on a roll. The rotation's there besides Suarez, who's definitely still struggle city.
But he's done it really. He's always done it in the postseason.
Right. He's turned it on at that time. Even if he doesn't, though, can they still win a World Series if he's not pitching well? Yeah, I think so. There's enough there besides him, right? There's enough star power. So I've got Astros 2. Some might say that's a little bit high, but they've been playing really good ball ever since the slow start for a few weeks.
Is that with or without Justin Verlander pitching?
Either way. Either way, they can win a World Series. They're definitely capable, and this is why they got Hader in the offseason. Kyle Tucker's working his way. I mean, he's back, but he's working his way back to looking like Kyle Tucker. I'll take Yordan Alvarez in a big at-bat over just about anybody, and they've been there before. Padres 3. It's controversial, Padres fans. Last year, I picked the Pods to win the World Series. I was not inside the clubhouse. It was my first year that I was not traveling very frequently, so I clearly didn't get the vibes down correctly, but the vibes they're there right now. Jackson Merrill, Clutch City. You know the reason why I'm picking them, though? I couldn't leave them off, and I watched the whole game last night, and I've been watching them much more frequently lately as they've basically solidified themselves as a wild card team, and I think they're going to host the wild card series in the first round, and that's a tough place to play, right, in the National League. I just think the bullpen's dominant. I do. Like they're trying to pick at excuses there. Like, oh, Suarez had like a few bad starts. Outings. Okay. He looked great again yesterday. I don't know. There's 4 or 5 guys there that I think can close games out, and I would feel comfortable for them pitching in the 9th inning for me in a World Series game. 4 or 5 guys, and that's on one team. I think there's enough firepower on offense. Best, I think, against breaking balls. I don't know if it was for the season or in the second half. I mean, they've just got a lot working for them, and they've got variety with their offense. And 3 starters that I think can carry, especially if Darvish looks like that. Michael King, Dylan Cease. Dodgers are right next to them for me. Padres have been playing better ball than the Dodgers for a while now. I think those two are pretty close, right? Obviously, you got the star power in the lineup. I am concerned about the rotation for them, and I do give the Padres the edge with the bullpen as well. Dodgers bullpen's good. Padres, I think, is probably best in the league right now. And I'll go Brewers 5. I have a hard time leaving them off. They've been consistently great the entire year. I think the brand of baseball they play has some Diamondbacks of last year to it, so I could see them making a run, making noise. The question is going to be the starting pitching, but they can run, they can make contact, they're going to be tough to shut out, and their bullpen is nasty. So who did I leave off that people are going to give me crap for?
Yeah, the Yankees.
I left the Yankees off. I just was matching up team by team against the Yanks, like how I would feel with them in a series, and I felt like all these teams would beat them. That's just how I felt.
So you have 4 NL teams and 1 AL team.
Yeah, I also –
as do I.
So when I was playing poker the other day, there's a dude who throws down on games, and he's like, what am I doing here? Let's run through things. And I gave him a bunch of NL teams I felt good about. I didn't feel good about that many AL teams. In terms of winning a World Series, he's like, I'm putting money down on World Series winning teams. Let's go through it. And he's like, Orioles? I'm like, nah, I don't feel good about them, dude. I gave him 2 teams in the AL that I said I feel comfortable with if you told me they win a World Series. The Astros and the Yankees. Yeah. But I gave him like 5 or 6 in the NL. Could you see those teams winning a World Series?
Can you see the – okay, this is – and again, this is I guess it kind of is. You know, anytime you're like, this isn't a knock on them, but it kind of is. Do you really see the Brewers winning the World Series?
That's the toughest one for me.
Right?
I had a hard
I mean,
time
and
with
they've had
them.
an unbelievable year.
Yeah.
But when you match them up with the Dodgers, you match them up with the Phillies, you even match them up with the Braves / Mets, Padres, Diamondbacks. You're like, man, how did they do it? But then again, we've been asking that all year. So
They
you
get
just
a bye. And also last year, did we see the Rangers and the Diamondbacks making it to the finish line? I just think the way the playoff format is set, you did? You saw that?
No, we saw the Rangers lineup making it to the finish line.
Preseason last year, I picked the Diamondbacks Rangers to be in the World Series.
Wow, that's good. I'll have to go back to that. You know, every show we do is actually on demand available. So either Bally Sports app or online on YouTube. So I'm going to go do some fact checking. But I don't know. I felt pretty good about my list. It's hard to – I was looking and I'm like, there's 1 or 2 teams there where I'm having a hard time. I couldn't do it. I was Brewers, Yanks at the bottom there with 5. And I'm like, you know what? Brewers have been a consistent team. I think they can keep up. It would definitely be a feisty kind of different flavor battle, if that makes sense. Like the Yankees are a very different kind of team setup-wise than the Brewers, but I think they could upset them, you know, if they met up in a World Series.
I said last year that the Brewers were going to win the World Series because of their top 3 starting pitchers. And they were out so fast. I mean, Corbin Carroll, he was like, no, they're not going to. That's where like a team can come in and just absolutely just slap you in the face and you don't even know what happens. Can the Brewers do that?
Yeah. I had the Yankees were tough to leave off, then the Diamondbacks, because I do think they're really built well for the playoffs.
But dude, they're
they got to get
sliding away here.
I know. And then the Guardians too. It's, you know, what's crazy is I like went pretty far down. I'm like, where would I have the Orioles? I was like, whatever, 8 or 9 at that point, which is crazy.
Because they're not hitting or pitching.
No.
And by the way, speaking of pitching, guess who's pitching for the Diamondbacks tonight?
Jordan Montgomery.
And guess where they give him his start at? Colorado.
Hey, if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere.
Hey, everybody. Be sure to like and subscribe for more content.
We're back here every weekday, all year long, so do not miss an episode.
The videos are coming in all day. Here's another video you might enjoy.
Baseball the way it should be covered.